Hello, my name is Cecilia Jane, and today we are going to be decorating my sketchbook. I just recently finished up this sketchbook on the 27th of February, so I've actually been working in this sketchbook for quite some time now. Well, it's March 13th today, so I've been pretty busy in it, doing some drawings and such. So it has really been bugging me that the sketchbook cover is not decorated. And not only that, but I don't have like the pocket in the back like I normally do and everything. So today we're just going to take care of that and decorate everything and get it set up how I like my sketchbooks. If you are curious, this is just a plain black Blick Dick sketchbook. Yeah, I believe it's 65 pounds and 108 pages. I got this in a pack of 2 and I threw away the wrapper, so I don't really know the exact specifications on it, but I think that's what it is. So far I'm liking it. The only thing is the paper is really thin, but I mean, it's not terrible. I also, if you guys didn't notice, am trying a larger sketchbook. Normally I try around like 5x8, like this size sketchbook. That's usually what I use, but I am trying to work in a larger sketchbook. So what I have planned for this sketchbook is I kind of have this idea to do this girl, and her head is like a flower pot, and she has her hands up and they're kind of holding little orbs, and then there's like ferns and such and leaves coming from the pot, which is her head. And I'm thinking I'm going to make the pot and her hands and stuff like stone material, so we will see about that. But yeah, I'm basically just gonna paint the front cover, add all the little bits and pieces I normally do to a sketchbook, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So as always, I'm going to start with some gesso on the cover just so the paint will better adhere. And I actually plan on doing a full background this time, so I'm going to be covering pretty much everything, kind of close up to the edges, and I'll leave a little bit of a border. And this is just the Liquitex Basics gesso. This is what I use in pretty much all the videos I do where I'm using gesso. And if you guys aren't familiar with gesso, this is basically just to give the painting surface a base to work on. It'll make the paint appear more vibrant and opaque. Anytime you're painting on a white surface instead of a black, the colors are going to appear more vibrant and just appear a lot better. And if you don't have fancy gesso, that's fine. You can also just use white paint. Really, the only big difference is that gesso is going to have a little bit of this like gritty sand texture, just again to make it more of a better base as like a canvas or something, like a bit of a gritty base like I said. And if you want to achieve a border without freehanding it like me, it would be a lot easier. Just get some painter's tape and tape off the borders. Okay, so now that has that base coat, I'm just going to go ahead and wash out this brush really quickly. I'd recommend washing off your brush pretty quickly after you use gesso because it dries very quickly and it will ruin your brush because of how gritty it is. Okay, so for right now I'm just going to set this aside while it's drying, and then we're just going to continue sketching. I know there's not a lot of space left, but I just want to make sure I understand the position of these hands correctly and everything. Okay, so after taking some really funny reference photos, I've got some pictures of how I kind of want the hands to sit. Alright, so actually I did remember that I had a blank page in here. I didn't specifically save it for this or anything, but since it's here, we might as well use it, and I'm just going to continue sketching while I'm waiting for that to dry. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do for the background, so I've got an idea kind of, but I'm going to just start playing around with some color ideas. right now I'm just kind of compiling my references on my iPad. I think in any project or painting, it's good to have like a nice set of references that you can look at, reference. And the plants that I'm putting together in this pot aren't necessarily going to be like biologically accurate, meaning I don't know like where they grow or if they grow together, but that's okay. Life's too short to care. Well, I mean, if you do care and you do it accurately, that's cool too, but this is more for aesthetic purposes or just artsy purposes rather than for being completely accurate. I mean, I think it is cool to get things accurate when you can, but this is just something for me more of than anything, so not too concerned with it. But yeah, so I think I'm going to do kind of like a reddish sky, maybe kind of a sunset, and then some like fields going on in the background kind of deal. So okay, so we are back. This is dry. It is finally time to paint. The only thing that I kind of noticed that's kind of weird is this cover is very flexible. Like, it moves a lot. It's very bendy, and it kind of like puffed up. I don't know. It's more of like a feeling rather than what you can see, but it's like puffed up. I think that's probably just because I applied something to it that kind of, what's the word? Maybe like tightened it a bit or something. But that's what we're working with right now. But that's okay. I don't really mind it. Yeah, so we're just going to start from the background and then work our way up. So we're going to start from like the sunset and the fields that I'm planning and then work on the foreground. That's kind of how I tackle all my paintings. So that's definitely like a good strategy to use. And actually I did just decide last minute that I'm going to put some tape on it, especially for the background. It'll be just easier to paint, especially when you're doing large swift motions like that. Alright, we're ready to roll. And you guys can already kind of see, where I've put the paint versus, or where I put the gesso versus where I have not. Of course I did water down this mixture a little bit, but it's just appearing a lot better on the white than it is the black. But I plan to do a few coats, few layers, so it should be okay. Okay, so it is voice over Cecilia now, and we're just going to kind of talk through this painting process. So instead of doing the sky like a pink, I kind of went for more of a lavender to a reddish color. That kind of seemed to fit the mood a little bit more. Kind of wanted to represent like a dusk, like just before it gets dark, kind of that dusk, nice sky. And then I started with the background, which I was kind of debating whether or not I wanted to put a lot of detail in there, like flowers and such, but I kind of went against it and just wanted kind of like a simple background because I didn't want it to compete with the foreground. So basically, if you have a really detailed background, it can like compete for attention with the foreground, which I did not want. I wanted the foreground to be the most important thing, obviously, because that's what I'm putting emphasis on. And then I started with the head and the hands, and I know it looks so funny at this stage, but just bear with me. It's kind of my process. Things kind of look ugly before they look good. I was kind of having some troubles emulating that stone-like texture because the sketchbook itself was already textured. So when I would put these sort of dots and stuff to represent the stone-like texture, it almost looked like freckles or blemishes within the figure, and that's not really what I wanted. So I kind of just let the texture of the sketchbook try to emulate that, and the colors I used, the stone-esque color, like the pale gray and darker gray in some areas. The hands were okay. I mean, it definitely got like the point across that they were holding something. I don't think in respect to the head, the proportion of the hands is totally accurate, but it's not to the point, I don't think, where it looks like just absurd or really awkward. Like I myself, I think I can tell that it's not exactly accurate just because I try to study proportions a lot, but I don't think as a viewer looking at it, you would think that. Hopefully not. I feel like I always just like down talk my art. I'm like, hey, notice all these things that are wrong with it. But no, overall, I'm really happy with how like the whole piece came out, but that was just something that I kind of had to cram the hands in there because of the space that I was working with and how the design was vertical. Let's see. Yeah, the sky I kept going back and forth too because I wanted it smooth, but I also wanted it to look like a sky where it kind of had some streaks in there and such. And I do actually go back at the end and kind of fix that and add some clouds and stuff because it was really missing something. So I'm glad I did that towards the end, but you don't see that for a while. The little, like, I don't know if you'd call it like the lip of the pot, but basically the pot, the thing above her forehead, kind of ended up looking a bit awkward, but like if you look at a flower pot, it has that kind of that lip or whatever you want to call it. So I did want to leave that so that it did look like a pot. And then as you can tell, I kept reworking the face, and there was like a point where I really, really liked how it was starting to look, and then I just kept fixing it, and then I wasn't as happy with the end result. But I don't think it turned out too bad or anything. Also, I'm sorry for my head, like my hair dipping in and out of the footage. Sometimes when you're doing detail, you want to like look really close, so please ignore my crazy hair. It's probably like 12 at night or something when I was filming this. But here you can see I tried to sort of add sort of that texture, and it just looked kind of awkward, so I think I went against that and didn't add that texture, which I'm happy that I didn't. I think here and there I may have added a little bit, like subtly, but in the face itself it looked a bit awkward when I did that, so I kind of chose to just smooth out the skin or the stone. And then I also tried to put some pretty dense highlights in certain points. Also, just with the hands too, like, with this texture of the sketchbook, I almost was thinking I should have gessoed it a few times just to really kind of get rid of some of that texture. It can work to your advantage, but it can also do the opposite, and it may have done both, I'm not sure. But like with getting detail on the hands, I think the texture of the sketchbook really just made it harder to get that nice detail of the hands. But I mean, I guess like if it was crafted with stone or like chiseled out of stone, it probably wouldn't have too many details anyways. I don't know. And then I started adding some grass in the foreground just because things that are closer to you would have more detail. And then I think like overlapping the grass in front of the face and the hands really helped to make it look more realistic. And I also started to add some of this like shadowing below the hands and stuff, which I think also helped. There's not really like a definite light source in this picture. If anything, it's just more of just like coming off from the top, like another light source besides like the dusk sunset, because obviously that would be like backlit. So the light source is kind of just what I felt like doing, like just kind of front facing light source just so that you could see the piece well and the features were like well defined. And then I started the leaves, which I kind of talked about briefly about how they weren't exactly like scientifically accurate or anything, or like where they would be located, or if they'd be located with the two leaves would be located together. Probably not. But I wanted to pick two different kinds of larger leaves that looked very different, and I could also do different colors. Also, my cat in the background, she likes to like just sit right by my paint, and it's kind of nerving sometimes because she always gets paint on her and I have to wash it off. But yeah, so these leaves, I was pretty happy with how I was able to get them to be very different looking. Obviously one's like bright green and one's kind of more of a bluishy green, and obviously just the shape of the leaves as well. The green leaf that's more of like the bluish tint. I kind of just combined a few different references of leaves to get that. I wouldn't say it's like an exact leaf that I found. For sure the other one's like some type of fern, or like a mixture of a few different types of ferns that I found. And the fern was actually super fun to do. I mean, at some points I tried to do kind of like in this one that I was doing right then. I try to have it kind of have an angle of it like being flipped over, if that makes sense, which is kind of tricky to accomplish, but I think I kind of got the point across, but I just wanted to like kind of test the angles of it and everything. So that was kind of tricky. But yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with the plants. I definitely like put a composition together before I did this of how I wanted the leaves to look, because I know I wanted some small ones, some larger ones. And also just with composition, it's important to like have a focal point and also like have everything kind of uneven, but in a intentional way, if that makes sense. I'd love to do a video describing like composition and what's good composition, so if any of you guys are interested in that, let me know. But yeah, I was pretty happy with like the composition, the overall look of the ferns and the other leaf. Let's see, what else? I think I was just squirting more paint there. Oh, and then I started with the orbs, which like honestly I'm so happy that I did that. It was kind of like a last minute thought, because I was like, oh, she needs something in her hands, and like so to me it kind of makes me think that she's some kind of like goddess or something, and she has like these powers, and then maybe they're like ignited by dusk and like they're kind of fiery, but also I don't know, I was really happy that I incorporated those and did them the way I did do them. And it also just kind of relates the colors of the foreground to the background, which is always cool when you can incorporate those colors in both the foreground and the background. And I was really happy with like the reflective light of the orbs and how the light of the orbs would bounce on the hands and the sides of the faces and such. There's one face. And then here I start to get into how I kind of thought the background was boring and how I was going to approach changing that. So yeah. And thought the sky looked really bare. And normally anytime I do a sky, I always add clouds or something. So I think I may add a few like purple clouds down here, and then maybe like a moon and some stars. And then I was actually thinking about putting some gold maybe like in the orbs, and then maybe in like the moon and the stars. I was having my boyfriend look at it, and he said I shouldn't put gold, but I kind of want to put gold. I really like gold. And also for the ribbon I'm going to add in here to mark my spot, I have a lot of gold ones, and I was thinking about using this one, which is just a very subtle gold on it. But it'd be nice if I had some gold on here so that they kind of related. So yeah, I'm just going to put some things in the sky, put some gold, and then we'll do the final reveal. So yeah. And so as you heard, I am just kind of adding these clouds in the background, which like for the millionth time, I am really happy I added them in. I think it just really helps to break up the sky and just make everything look more cohesive. And then I also added the moon and the stars, which I thought was like a nice little touch, because this kind of has like a celestial, like I said, goddess feel to it. So I think that was a fun little touch. Sometimes looking at your art like the day after can really help to like find out what you should add or what would be nice in addition to. I'm sorry, I cannot speak, but yeah, just giving your art another look at the day after and kind of seeing if you need to add anything is always a good idea. Okay, so I just put on the gold and the stars, and then I also added gold on my name and everything. This lighting is, here you go, you can kind of see it in that lighting, how much it stands out. I think it's really pretty. The C got a little, C for Cecilia got a little smudge, but I don't really care that much. But yeah, you can kind of see it in that lighting too. I think it turned out really nicely. I'm pretty happy with how that looks. Also, I'm really happy I just added the clouds and the stars as well and everything. I feel like it just adds to the piece a lot. Trying to see which way you can see better, probably this way. So now we're gonna go ahead and actually take the tape off, which is like the most satisfying part. So I'm just going to go ahead with this black Uniposca and kind of fix some of the parts that, ooh, there's some hair. Some of the parts where the gesso was still under the tape and did get painted. So I'm going to go ahead and start customizing the other parts of the sketchbook, but I do want to let you guys know I don't think I'm going to record this, but I am going to cover the front in either like an acrylic paint sealer. So I'll probably seal it in this. I just got this at Walmart. I don't even know if they still have this. I've been using it forever, but clear acrylic sealer and gloss. I'm just not going to seal it right now because I do want to take pictures of it and I want to work on the other parts. You could just use something like a Mod Podge or really any kind of sealer and work just fine. But yeah, so now we're going to go ahead and start adding the other elements. So I did put when I started it, so I'm just going to go over that with like a darker green. And then as always, I put a little like if found please return to, and I made this really quickly on Photoshop. I guess I could turn on this light, it might be better. Made this on Photoshop. I had these like doodles of plant leaves and stuff, so I just took those and kind of formatted it into something that I thought would be kind of cute, and it kind of matches the cover with like the coral and everything in the leaves. So just a subtle little thing that I thought was cute. So I'm just going to go ahead and write my information on it. All right, now we're just going to go ahead and tape that down in the corner. And then also at the front of my sketchbooks, I don't know if I've had this in my past sketchbook videos, but I started including like a quote in the beginning of the sketchbook. So I think, I don't know if I'll put the quote in this video, but when I just stumble upon a quote I like, I usually put it there. And then I also put my goals, which it seems to be the same like every time I do this. Let's see, what are my goals? And again, these are a lot of goals that are just the same throughout. And I can always add more to that if I want, but that's what I'm using right now. And then we are also going to be adding a little pocket for like all of our little stuff. I just put like my sketchbook homework prompts in there along with some business cards if I ever run into people and I need to give them my business card. And normally I also put the little like from the sketchbook that says the information on here, but like I said, I got this in a double pack and I don't even know if the double pack included the information, so I just wrote what I thought it was because I tried to find it online, but they didn't have the same exact. Yeah, anyways, I think it's helpful to put the information down here, like how many pages and the weight of it and everything, but like I said, I'm not sure if that's entirely accurate. So I'm just going to be gluing down this envelope. There's a lot of different ways you can like make pockets and stuff. In past videos, I've just taken like paper I've liked and made like a pocket where you just glue the edges of it like that. But I think envelopes are nice because then they have like a flap. And I'm just using some tacky glue. And then we just stick that where we want it. And then I always write something cute here, just like treasures or something, so. Obviously I'm running out of room, so I'm not going to put the S, it's just going to be treasure, which is okay. And you could obviously like decorate these a lot more, but I just spent a lot of time on the cover and everything. And then for the ribbon, I'm just taking a ribbon I got, actually I think I got this from the Dollar Tree, but you could get this, you know, pretty much anywhere. So each side of the ribbon is actually decorated, so I don't have to worry too much about which side I glue it on, but if only one side of your ribbon is like decorated, just make sure that the side of the ribbon that's pretty is like the one that's being shown. And so I'm kind of just measuring it. I'm flipping it to the front of the sketchbook and just making sure that it won't go hanging down because I think that's kind of annoying. So I'm just cutting it a little bit above. And then if you've seen any of my other videos, I always do the same thing. I just kind of glue it down. And I don't do anything real special to glue this down. I've always had it stay pretty secure. I mean, as long as you're not yanking it on or anything, it should be okay. And then again in here you could just put anything from like I put little pieces of scrap watercolor paper in case like I needed to wipe my brush on or see what color it is. Business cards, art prompts, little sketches, anything like that. And you can even put a bigger one. This is just usually a good size for me. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So again, here's the finished cover that we painted, and then we also added our goals, our started date, and then our if found please return to. Again, I'll probably put a quote here or something like that. And then of course put your end date when you're done with the sketchbook. Add the pocket and the string. And then I will probably also decorate the back with some of my favorite stickers. So that's something you can do as well. But again, this video is going to be so long. So I'm sure you guys can figure out how to put stickers on there. But yeah, I hope this video was somewhat entertaining or fun to watch. Let me know down in the comments if you enjoyed it. Make sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Bye. And now a huge thanks to my lovely patrons. If you want your name at the end of my videos while supporting me as an artist and getting awesome rewards in return, check out the link in the description below.